Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Elkhart Lake. We're at Road America, this historic track hosting the BMW Race Driver Series. We're its 8th round of our 10-round season, and you will see it all live right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. As always, my name is Ryan Jones, alongside me, Oshin Bahaka and Joe Peak behind the scenes, using the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And to take a look at this 6.4 kilometer racetrack, we can dive down with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But two of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
A look there at the Elkhart Lake circuit. What else can you tell us about this joint, Aussie?
Well, it's quite a nice one, as they tend to be. 6.44 kilometers, as you mentioned, 6.5 roughly. Very fast racetrack, offering a lot of overtaking opportunities down the long straights. And it's actually quite interesting how a circuit, which is basically 90-degree corners combined with 45-degree corners, combined with one long sweeper, they call the carousel because Americans, can be so interesting. But there you go. I mean, it's a favorite among many drivers. Some like it less, some like it more, but I think it tends to produce some excellent racing, and I'm looking forward to another excellent event out here tonight.
Certainly is, and none of this possible, of course, without the help of our sponsors. So a big thanks go to the team at Express Hydraulics, who import and stock a wide range of hydraulic accessories so that you can get what you want when you want it. And Griffin Excavation to provide you with a professional and experienced digger operator ready to help you with general earthworks, landscaping, drilling, trenching, driveways, and site clearing. And you can also get your company involved with the Global SimRacing Channel. We've got over 1 million impressions each and every month, and it is a fantastic opportunity to get your brand seen by a broad audience. Just head to the link in the description to find out more. Now, let's look at our championship, because including tonight, we've got just 3 rounds left to go. And this is how it looks. Gene Rollinson leads the way by 47 points, coming on very strong in the last part of this championship. And then Antar Rafael Sabo in second. Closed the gap a little bit last time out. It's Zolder, Royce Rollinson third, Taylor Cochran in fourth, and Matthew Griffin fifth. It's looking pretty tight, isn't it, Aussie?
It is. I don't think anything's decided yet, especially when you look down from Gene and Antal Rafael, because Royce, Taylor, Matthew, all of them pretty close up there. And race details, those should be on your screen as well. How will this 8th round be decided? Well, if you are familiar with the series, you're gonna notice that it's a familiar format. It's the same one as ever before. Open qualifying, which is underway right now, half an hour to put your best lap time in. Then you're gonna have 2 25-minute heat races. First one, 25 minutes, starting in qualifying order. Second one, 25 minutes in reverse order. So, you know, it's it's a reverse grid race for the second one as well, and we used to have a random safety car period for those. They do it in some races, not in every one. I don't think they will do it in this one just because of the length of lap, but we will just have to wait and see. And it's always full reverse grid, Ryan. That makes it so interesting. And another interesting point is, can Shane van Gisbergen beat everybody once again?
Yeah, once again, he was the quickest car the last 2 rounds we've seen him. 2 rounds? 3 rounds? I've lost track. But he's certainly making his face and name known in this series over the last few weeks. A bit surprised to see him, given that just yesterday he was tearing a Virgin Australia Supercars Championship car around the very long track at Taylor Bend, picking up a race win as well. My memory serves me right. Honestly, I've already forgotten what happened on the weekend, so don't quote me on that. But he did win at some point, I think. So I think he's racing from a hotel, because they're back there next weekend, and quarantine says you can't go out of the state there. So it doesn't look like it's affected him, because he's clear by half a second at the moment.
I want the SimRacing rig on my hotel. That would make traveling so much more interesting. Granted,
Well,
I
I
can't...
once...
Yeah.
Yeah, I once commentated from a hotel in London.
Ooh, is London a place in Australia, or was that the actual London?
London.
So you were actually back at the United Kingdom, good old United Kingdom, sipping tea and commentating from a hotel. The most exciting place I've commentated from is on the passenger seat of a Volvo 242.
Really?
Yes, really. There is a story for that. It was thunderstorms, basically, and because I was at a friend's place, I had to do the broadcast from there. And it was a thunderstorm, and so because he lives in an old house, we couldn't leave the electrics on. So we plugged an alternator and a laptop into the car, because the car is the safest place to be in during a thunderstorm, and I just did the race from there. It wasn't and we decided to why not just drive around for a little bit. The broadcast actually started 5 minutes before we got to the good coverage area. So it was kind of a spotty internet at first, but then we drove next to a broadcast tower, and it was all fine.
Well, there you go. Van Gisbergen did win yesterday. Race 26 of the season. The first of 2 races that took place. And we are on board Matthew Griffin, who is in 8th. Can he improve on that as he comes across the line? This very big and long main straight at Road America, expecting to see plenty of overtaking opportunities arise down here at Turn 1 as you sweep through the right hand and then open yourself up, ready for turn number 3. Nicholas Lowndes is back in 12th at the moment, regular competitor across our season, regularly fighting up inside the top 10 as well, so be hoping to get a little bit further up the order here in qualifying.
Yeah, certainly will be coming to that main straight once again. Actually, 201.7 is his best qualifying time, and the thing is, just 1/10 of an improvement, and he goes up 3 places. So that would put him well within the top 10 margin. 201.5, we'll see even more. We'll see 2/10, and we'll see him hopping all the way up to 8.
Jonathan Shapley looking to find that same sort of improvement. Needs it. Doesn't get it. Will stay in 18th for now, just behind Todd Gibson. Crossed the line and was about 49 seconds slower than his best of the session so far, so that was an outlap for him. Blomqvist about to cross the line as well. Blomqvist, a race winner this season. A 2:01.240, his fastest of the session so far. He is now in 6th. And Gisbergen has just gone half a second quicker again. He now leads the field by a second. A 1:59.5.
A 1:59.5. Okay, so these are not bad drivers. Andrew Wade, Antar Rafael Sabo, Mark Gibson, so on. These are not bad drivers, but a 1:59.5 is actually ludicrous speed, considering it is a fixed setup series, as far as I can remember. It's a fixed setup series, and the track temp is 32 32 degrees Celsius, which is not too hot, but it's, not a flying weather either. So, you got quite some speed in that SVG car, and I think he should race more often from motos. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe Red Bull brought their state-of-the-art simulator down to Taylor Bend for the fortnight, and he's racing from that. He has relatively slapped the field with that lap time. Andrew Waite is best of the rest. Can he improve that margin for pole position 2.0? No, he can't. He stays second. I reckon we'll probably see Van Gisbergen coming from pit lane in this first race as well, like we did at Zolder. Ryan Wood in 8th. If he can find a 10th of a second, he goes to the top 5. 201.292, the time to beat. A 201 flat. So he goes up to 4th. Good improvement indeed. Good to see some late session improvements actually happening for once as he goes and loops it down at turn 1. His team, by the way, G-Drive Exhilia Esports, he races for. G-Drive are a real-life team to compete in LMP2 and would have been in action yesterday at Le Mans as we see Gene Rollinson come across the line in 12th.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. That's very interesting to see that crossover between traditional racing and sim racing as well. I much prefer traditional racing because it kind of always irks me. It kind of, touches me the wrong way when I hear people talk about real racing as opposed to sim racing. It's real racing. It's not motorsport, but it's real racing. So, that's just I needed to get that one out of my chest as we have Rafael Sabo coming across the line. Let's see if he can improve. That's not going to be improved. I think he's just starting a proper flying lap right now with 3 minutes left on the clock. So that leaves Sabo with 2 flying laps left in his arsenal. Or Liverpool, if you prefer.
Oh, God, please no. Anything but those 2 teams would be great. Nathan Krang, 13th, is that? Yes. In his silver bullet. No, 18th. My eyes. Oh, God, I don't want to have glasses. Please let me be needing glasses. That was his best lap of the session, but now he's off the road as well. Taylor Cockerton, currently in 6th position in car number 11. Did his fastest lap last time by, so if he's going to improve on this lap, it'll be a mega effort to do purple and purple again. I should say green for personal best. He doesn't improve. It is very tight for second on back, half a second from Andrew Waite down to Cockerton.
It is. I mean, you look at Sabo, Wood, Gibson, Cockerton, as you said, and all those guys in a very, very tight bunch. And really, we would be saying it's a very tight field if it wasn't for one pesky SVG, showing everybody how it's gone. Here's Gene Rollinson coming across the line. He will improve to 201.4, and that puts Gene all the way up to 9th place. So we're seeing improvement yet still in this session, and he still has 1 more lap left. So will be interesting to see how that one will go. Meanwhile, I'm looking at drivers approaching the line, and there's Royce Rollinson actually on the key. So Ryan, I've got a trivia question for you right at the end of the qualifying. This corner they're coming up to right now is called the Canada corner. How far is it from the Canadian corner?
Pretty far, I think. Further than some other places on the racetrack. I've got a history of that corner, actually. Royce Rollinson is 16th right now in the session. He's done a 202.5. 1/10 gets him ahead of Matthew Giantini. If he can find a second, you'll get himself up inside the top 10. And we know Royce is quick, so I'm a bit surprised to see him this far down the order, actually. He's a 202.9. He doesn't improve. The Canada corner, I think, or there is a rumor, no one officially knows, named because after an event, track workers were cleaning up the track and there was an abundance of, I think, Canadian Club beer cans down at that corner.
Aha, that's actually quite interesting. That's almost reminding me of some of the corners at the Nürburgring, but yeah, it was 400 miles or something, if I remember correctly. It might have been kilometers, but it was like multiple 100 miles. Because I heard an urban legend that if you go far enough out in that corner, you end up in Canada. because it's so close to the border. And then I looked it up and I was like, nope, nope. Not unless something goes terribly wrong, as the session is ending as well, and that means we have our final grid order.
And here is how they line up. Shane Van Gisbergen has the pole. Will he start there? We'll find out in a minute. Mark Gibson starts from second, Andrew Waite third, and Antal Rafael Sabo from fourth. Ryan Wood lines up from fifth in his G-Drive Eximia car. Interestingly, fifth is where G-Drive finished with the highest placing car in LMP2 yesterday at Le Mans. Taylor Cochran finishes in sixth in qualifying. He'll line up there. Paul Blomqvist from seventh, and Zayna Hills from eighth. Gene Rollins in ninth, and Nicholas Lowndes in 10th.
It's gonna be Matthew Griffin in the 999 entry starting 11th. Alongside him will be Todd Gibson, Casey Stark 13th, Mitchell Sparrow 14th with Matthew Gintini 15th, alongside him Royce Rollinson. Stephen Barker is gonna be starting 17th, Nathan Crank 18th, Jonathan Shapley 19th, Douglas Bickley 20th, and then we got the number one entry of Caden Barker with no qualifying time, gonna be starting from back of the field. So long pace lap here, Ryan. Gonna mean we have a lot of time to talk about this circuit, and I have a question for you. Have you found turn 2 of Road America yet?
I found it off the road to the left-hand side after venturing out there after missing a braking point 7 laps in a row and having to drive away from the tyre bundle. But if you look at a track map, it is apparently somewhere between turn 1 and turn 3. Which is that corner you see on the exit turn 1, and you go, oh look, turn 2. You're wrong. That is not turn 2, and once again I find myself questioning America and its racetracks. This racetrack is actually on the, let me get this right, US National Register of Historic Places, which basically means it can be eligible for preservation. And avoid getting destroyed by developments, which is pretty cool, and it is a pretty historic racetrack.
It is just that, as we saw SVG just getting a little bit anxious behind the pace car, actually accelerating away from it.
Oh, that's surprising, isn't it, Aussie? Starting from pole after deciding to go for the pit lane last week.
Yeah, so he's going to be wanting to start from there, maybe, unless he comes to the pit lane. And there you can actually see turn number 2. It does kink a little bit to the right. That's not a turn in my books, but I'll give it. There is actually a little bit of, change of direction on the track before you come down to turn number 3. So in case, the reason I brought it up is that in case people at home are confused, why are we referring to turn 2 as turn 3? That's why, because that's the official corner number. Same with here on the back straight, you have turns 4A and 4B, because once again, American corner names. So the next 90-degree left-hander, which by any common sense is turn number 3, is actually turn number 5. So we're going to be mostly referring to turns 1, 3, and 5 at the opening of this lap. So I hope that clears up the confusion just a little bit.
I was just going to refer to it as turn 2 before you mentioned it.
Okay. You can. You're allowed to.
It could have pretty much just been, a drunk construction worker that's made that curve in the road. This place has been around since 1955. So I doubt there was quite the level of scrutiny over it as there was today. Maybe Joe could let us know about that. I think you were around back then, weren't you, Joe? Director Joe?
Yeah, I think he might have been there. I think he might have been there actually working on the track, in his early 40s.
See, I didn't quite go that far. We're just heading into the carousel here. This is one of the trickier corners on the racetrack. It's turns 9 and 10. You can see a never-ending right-hander. And this straight it leads onto, called the bend, actually. I think the bend is actually the little chicane that is off to the left that is used by a few series. And then this here is the kink, as we all know. probably the other most difficult corner right after the carousel. It is very high speed, and if you get it wrong, you're in for a wild ride.
Yeah, you see, I always find turn number 6 the most difficult corner in Road America because of the blind entry and because it comes up the hill. It's just difficult to get right. But we're going to be starting soon. We're now coming to Canada Corner. And then my favorite name, Thunder Valley. And I think Mid-Ohio has a Thunder Valley as well.
Well, let's get ready for the start here at Road America. Looking for 2 races, 25 minutes each. Reverse grid to begin race 2, but this is a battle between our fastest drivers. All at the front, Van Gisbergen, a second clear of the field in qualifying. Can he convert it to full-length race pace? He's in control of the field as we head up the hill and over the crest. We'll see the start-finish lane, waiting on the green flag. There it is, and we are underway from Road America at a very even start between Shane Van Gisbergen and Mark Gibson, who starts from second. Van Gisbergen getting a push from Andrew Waite into his rear bumper as we jump onto the brakes for turn 1. They are all very close together, and still Gibson holds on around the outside as someone in the background goes skating off through the gravel. Into turn 3, wheel to wheel, Van Gisbergen finally prevails over Mark Gibson. Waite slots into third, Wood into fourth. Sabo made a mistake through turn 3 and wiggled. He is going backwards down the straight as Cockington gets alongside.
He does, has Paul Blomqvist in the draft to Cockington as well. Paul Blomqvist potentially looking to make it 3 wide. And actually is going to the middle. And meanwhile in the lead, that's actually SVG going wide and Andrew Waite going right into the wall.
I think Andrew Waite completely misjudged where he needed to brake for that corner. Had to take avoiding action, went straight across the inside and all the way into the fence on the outside, narrowly avoiding collecting Van Gisbergen. And Ryan Wood on his way through. Ryan Wood has somehow emerged in the lead of this race after starting from 5th.
Yeah, so that's amazing for Ryan Wood. Let's see how long he can hold SVG back. To Taylor Cockington rounding out your top 3. And, that's just a wild first lap. It's what you expect from Road America. A couple of guys going off, as you said, Krang was off in turn number 1, and then you had that bigger issue in turn number 5 with Andrew Waite going way wide. But here they are, back racing, back for the lead as well. And SVG so far looking pretty tame. I think he wants to keep this fight going for as long as possible. He's got the pace, but let's see about race conditions.
Oh, that's a late look up the inside of the last corner. He gets it pulled up, but Ryan Wood was awake to it, and he's gone for the crossover. Ryan Wood also has some real-world experience in a variety of categories, including karts. I think Sangyong Utes as well, Toyota 86. He and SVG are banging wheels down this straight. They do it again. And look how close that is as we see it on board with 3rd place Taylor Cockington. Prime position if they collide ahead as Van Gisbergen almost ends up out in the grass on the outside, and this allows Cockington alongside him. He can't do anything about it. As out of turn 3, they run single file.
Yeah, that was a great traffic jam caused by Ryan Wood and Shane Van Gisbergen. They're going side by side again. Cockington and Sabo right behind them as well. Amazing racing.
And Ryan Wood lifts off, allowing Van Gisbergen around the outside, but in doing so, it allows Cockington to sneak up his inside. And Gene Rollinson was propped on the outside of them all as well for a moment. Sorry, that's Antal Rafael Sabo up in 4th. Rollinson's behind him, all changing very quickly. Van Gisbergen back to the front, Cockington up to 2nd and looking to pressure him already. Van Gisbergen back on the defensive line. Through turn number 8 we go. Ryan Wood's resettled now in 3rd.
Yeah, he's looking back a little bit through the carousel, trying to find a proper line, trying to find a good exit. He does, unlike Cockington, who actually makes a mistake, goes wide, but Wood doesn't find room on the inside. And to the King 2 wide is a dangerous affair indeed, so he has to go to the outside with Sabo watching.
Cockerton's defending that inside, but Ryan Wood says, no issue, I'll go round your outside, I'll have the inside for the next corner, but it's going to switch back again very quickly. Oh, he's run a little bit wide, and that's going to send Cockerton out into the grass as Sabo throws it up there for a lunge as well. Hills goes straight up into the tyre bundle. Oh, it's all kicking off at Road America.
Oh, it is. He ran for the hills, and you can see a replay of the incident Canada corner, or you were about to see, as we cut away from that one because there's a great battle for second place. Sabo taking that position away from Wood, and that's a great move as well. Now Sabo can put himself into the draft of SVG. With Gene Robinson coming together with Gibson. That's a disaster.
Taylor Cockerton gets caught up as well. Another driver has been collected in the background as I think that one's Rollinson went rolling back on to the racing line.
Yeah,
that's
so
taken out a bunch of fast cars. Meanwhile, they're still battling up here for the lead of the race. Sabo's up into second.
Yeah, he is. So he's ahead of Wood right now, SVG as well, getting a lot of room for them, but that was a major incident. We're gonna probably get a look of that one later on. One car going into catch fence as well. But yeah, Gisbergen, Sabo, Wood, they're not too concerned about that one. They're just, you know, trying to race, and so far so good for Sabo. He's managing to hold on to the draft of SVG with relative ease. I wonder if SVG is letting off a little bit, or if he's got a bit of damage maybe from lap number 1. It doesn't look that way. In any case, Sabo is able to look for the opportunities. Meanwhile, Wood goes a little bit wide to the think, and that's so easy to do when you are in the dirty air, when you are in the draft. Look at Sabo. It's just going left, right, and deciding to go left, trying to go around the outside, nothing doing there, and Wood is going to have an opportunity down Bill Mitchell then.
That's where Wood tried to get by Cockerton before running wide and putting him off the road, so that probably put him off making the same move on Sabo as they all close up again out of the last corner. I get the feeling almost that Gisbergen's toying with them just a little bit.
I mean, it could be. It could very well be that the minions are not the only toy-related things about SVG's car today. I mean, it could be wrong. Imagine if you were wrong saying that, by the way. He's trying his hardest and you're saying, it almost looks like he's toying. But, you know, it can sometimes look that way. I'm looking at the lap times. They're not too bad, in all honesty, considering they're going too wide to some of the corners. Just a couple of seconds slower than in qualifying.
You know what race car drivers are really good at? Driving to a lap time number.
Yes, that's true. That's kind of what they get paid for.
On the defense again, and around the outside, there is no grip for Antal Rafael. Sabo almost allowing Wood up the inside again, but again, he says maybe later. The top three remain covered by half a second. There's a battle for fourth behind them. Blomqvist has just got by Royce Rollinson, who was purple a couple laps ago with his lap times. Started 16th, is up to fourth, the biggest mover in the field. He's got Nicholas Lowndes company behind him now.
Yeah, so that's been a great bit of driving from Royce, being able to avoid everything. And Sabo, who was given some slack by Ryan Wood heading into turn 6, because Wood had a chance to go alongside him earlier on, decided to go against it. You know, they wanted to stay with SPG, they wanted to stay with this lead battle. Well, Sabo's got a great run once again into the corner, SPG fending him off, trying to defend, and once again to the penultimate corner. I think unless Sabo makes a major mistake, he's going to have a great chance on the main straight. Uphill, draft, that's just going to be a great opportunity. However, he goes to the outside, has to go too wide, and that's going to allow Wood to get a great run.
Remember, Sabo, second in the championship. Gene Rollinson leads. Gene is back in 19th place right now, so Sabo needs to keep that in mind as well. This is big for his championship aspirations after leading early on in the season and then falling backwards a little bit over the last couple of rounds. His last round put him back on the road to recovery, but time is quickly running out as looking at the lap times of Paul Blomqvist, a 2-minute 2.075, 1.2 seconds quicker than your race leader. Let's take a look then at some of the replays from the calamitous opening 10 minutes of this race. And this was the big incident on the exit of turn 1 between Taylor Cockerton and Gene Rollinson.
Yeah, so they are gonna have a bit of a disaster behind the leaders, as you can see soon enough. That was quite good so far, you know. You can see Cockerton up the inside, but then they just ran out of room at the exit of the corner. Both went into the wall, and then that's just not what you want to see happen. You know, you have to hold on to the brakes. Once you have a crash, like once you have a major incident, you head to the wall, you have to hold on to the brakes. He didn't care, but that's not Taylor Cockerton, by the way. That I think was Mark Gibson could have been in that position. Pardon me, Mark, if I'm wrong. But yeah, you have to hold on to the brakes. But I don't think that's the first instinctive reaction anyone has after such a hard leak. But yeah, you have to hold on to the brakes, and that's why he rolled into a couple of other cars as well, who were innocent parties. But you know, at the exit of turn number 1, when you come together, there's not a lot of room to have a crash at all. You're not gonna slide like 100 yards, 150 yards from the track. You're gonna slide right into the wall and then bounce back. So we're actually lucky it wasn't a bigger crash.
Well, Van Gisbergen's put his foot down. A 2-minute 0.6, not registered as the fastest lap because I think he picked up an off-track somewhere around the track. Instead, the official fastest lap goes to Ryan Wood, whose time was a second slower than SVG. Blomqvist in the background has got everything out in the grass, and that devours a lot of the hard work he'd put in to close the gap to the podium. Got to be careful that he doesn't get caught by the drivers behind. Matthew Griffin's also run into issues exiting turn 3. His have resulted in a spin and almost rejoining straight into the path of Shapley.
Oh dear me. Yeah, that's one of the things that you only learn with experience, really. You know, not rejoining into the path of another car, and especially with how hard it can be to kind of see where somebody's coming from, especially if you haven't got the correct buttons mapped, or you know, if you're not used to using the relative screen. And you can see it here, Shapley having a bit of a brown pants moment, I think. That's not gonna be something you want to see when traveling at 200 km.
Through the carousel go Griffin and Shapley. Will go further back in the order for P14. They're about to come into the carousel. Giantini has got by Barker, and now Barker's got Casey Sturrock right behind him. Nathan Krang not too far away either. About to come into the King. Got to carry as much speed as possible. I don't think it's quite flat in these cars.
You're gonna have to be a brave man.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little confidence lift from Sturrock. Not coming all the way out of the throttle, but just coming off it a little bit to help ease the car through the apex and keep it on the black stuff. As whoop, just keeping on the black stuff there was Barker using all the runoff and just darting back on before the grass came up.
Yeah, so that's one of the traditional places almost to go wide. If somebody was watching the Lotus 79 Grand Prix here yesterday evening, then you would have seen somebody else. I think it was Oscar Rinne going very wide here, but you know, Bill Mitchell Bend, it may look like a simple corner on the map, but it's anything but, because you kind of have to lift. And it almost feels like it's banked a little bit the wrong way, where it has some negative camber throughout the corner. And because it's so narrow, and once you come up to the exit and you hit that curve, it's not a flat curve. There's actually a bump there, and you can easily go airborne over the bump. So once you go wide here, you just kind of have to hold on and hope that it doesn't hit anything, because those walls, as we have mentioned so many times before, they are close. And Nathan Krang, yeah, there's a replay of him going very, very, very wrong way. Same way as he went in lap number 1, and that's close to the car.
Certainly is. Just 11 minutes left in this race.
Oh,
Van Gisbergen's lead extending. I think Krang is retiring his Silver Bullet as Sturrock sends one up the inside at turn 8, gets it done nicely on Stefan Barker. He's lost another spot now in this one. Luckily, there's no more Nathan Krang there to potentially take away the next spot. He actually looks a little bit uncomfortable through the carousel. So the gap at the front, 2.4 over Van Gisbergen to Sabo. Ryan Wood is 4.2 seconds back in third. Paul Blomqvist trying to run him down, but his mistake has cost him quite a bit in that endeavour. He is 7.6 seconds back. It's 9 seconds back to Nicholas Lowndes, who sits in fifth, just behind him there, the blue car.
yeah. So the ability of Shane Van Gisbergen to just say, okay, that was fun, boys, but I have to have a race to win. See ya, and let's have a fun race too, is quite amazing, actually. The way he just turned up the afterburners. You know, he's doing 2 minutes flat. He was 1.1 seconds faster, well, 1 second faster than Antal Rafael Sabo last time around. 1.5 seconds faster than Ryan Wood, with Paul Blomqvist actually quite close to Ryan Wood now. Well, not quite close enough, but you know, trying to catch up to him as well. As I'm looking around, Todd Gibson, Andrew Waite. Andrew Waite, he's not out of it. You know, he had a terrible mishap on lap number 1. Well, he's just gained himself another position over Todd Gibson, taking the 8th place with a nice move down to the inside. And looking at the clock, we still have 9 minutes left, so Andrew Waite, he had the pace in qualifying. What can he do here in race conditions? I think he could be looking at potentially 6th place.
Just watched Jonathan Shapley try to pull off the same manoeuvre, and a bit overzealous, and Matthew Griffin was left with nowhere to go but the grass in order to avoid contact between the pair of them. Here's the replay. It was up the hill over at turn number 6, sorry.
Yeah, so, wow, that's a late move to the inside, and yeah, that's, you know, you can't expect him to come to the inside there. Matthew Griffin, you know, he was already looking at the entry point. He was already looking because, as I said earlier on, that's a blind corner. So you're gonna have to be extra careful with the entry. And I think he had a little bit of an off moment. He was going a little bit slowly, but I don't think he was anymore looking at these mirrors. He wasn't expecting Shapley there at all. So, you know, Shapley just sent one late down to the inside. It worked out, but it wasn't what you call a gentleman move. But then again, I think this is a league of extraordinary gentlemen.
Speaking of, the latest lap from Van Gisbergen would have put him on pole. 4 tenths slower than his actual pole lap, but still 6 tenths quicker than what anyone else managed. It's down the main straight, coming across the line. For comparison's sake, Barker, a 2:02.9 is 2 seconds slower than what Van Gisbergen just did.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. And the thing is, SVG, he's on his own level here, 159.9, and behind him you got Sabo 2017, you got Ryan Wood 2018, Blomqvist 2018, and Lowndes 2018. So all of these guys are lapping pretty much on equal terms, but it's as if one guy had just, you know, every car is equal. That is made sure of, fixed setup, and you know, they are mechanically equal. But it seems like Shane's car is just a little bit more equal than others, so to speak.
Casey Sturrock made a mistake, which allowed Barker to get by. Barker then made a mistake, which allowed Sturrock to absolutely send it up into turn 7. Got to his rear bumper, but couldn't really do much about it. Oh, now a mistake from the car ahead of both of them. That's Giantini. Oh, that's the grass, that's a spin, and that's a big off for Barker. And he ends up in the tyre bundle. Yeah, clip of the grass. The load going through that car on the left-hand side is a big no-no.
It is, and you know, he was going to the outside of Quintini, trying to go out around the outside through the carousel, and that just didn't work out for him at all. You want to take the inside here anyway. And we are watching main straight, having a couple of battles there. So car number 7, that would be Andrew Waite, and he is right in the draft of Royce Rollinson, trying to potentially make a move in not too long. But looking behind them, 11th place, Jonathan Shapley and Matthew Griffin. They are going to have a battle soon, and I think Matthew Griffin has a chance of a revenge here, Ryan.
But can he actually execute the overtake? Because at this corner that he's coming up to... Oh, nope, got myself all turned around on the racetrack. No, I haven't. This is the corner. I'm looking at Andrew Waite. That's why. Whereas our broadcast feed is still looking at Matthew Griffin and Shapley. Griffin. Oh no. Oh, he was really deep on the brakes. I thought he was going to go straight to the back of Shapley, but he just managed to pull it up. Avoided collecting him by just turning in a bit later. Up the order, Waite has got real close to the back of Royce Rollinson now. Coming through the carousel.
Yeah, so you got Royce Rollinson and Andrew Waite coming to the kink, and Waite having to lift off a little bit. He got a decent run, but that's not close enough. It's actually surprisingly difficult to get a run into Canada corner with cars that you have to lift off with through the kink, because when you're following in the tow, you're always going to be slower through the fast corners than the car ahead of you, just due to the dirty air, which even these GD cars have a little bit of. But here, Ryan, look at the main straight. Andrew Waite, he's got a great chance to send one up the inside.
Across the line, it's still in favour of Royce Rollinson. When they jump onto the brake pedal, Andrew Waite should be the latest of the late breakers, and he pulls that one off nicely. And crucially, it actually pulls up for the corner. A little bit of damage on his front right from when he missed the brake pedal down at turn 5 on lap 1. That's a car off the road and missing its bonnet. That's Shapley. Oh,
wow.
boy.
So these two came together once again through Bill Mitchell Bend, and yeah, that's a little bit ambitious from Matthew Griffin. Granted, Shapley was being ambitious earlier, but yeah, I think that's just a case of, running out of space. These are big boys, these BMW M8s, or as you guys like to call it, the BMW Mate. And Griffin here, looking to the inside already, missing the braking spot at Canada corner. Shapley's going to have a chance, go around the outside into the Bill Mitchell Bend. And I think behind the trees, oh yeah, I take that back. It wasn't Griffin, sending one to the inside. Rather, it was Shapley turning in a little bit too early. He was trying to go for the apex, but the problem was there was a car.
3 minutes left in this race. And looking like Shane Van Gisbergen's got this one pretty much wrapped up. 2 laps left to go as he crosses the line. And he will be starting from the back for race 2 with our inversion of the grid. A 6.8 second advantage for him now. After being under a lot of pressure early on, I'm still convinced he was just toying with them. And I think his pace now might suggest that was true. Sabo there in second, the same gap between himself and Van Gisbergen as what he has over third place Ryan Wood. So it's a very lonely racetrack for him at the moment. Ryan Wood is... I tell you what, if he does the lap time he just did again, and Blomqvist does his last lap again, the last lap two needs to be all on for the podium, because Ryan Wood at 2:03.8 compared to Blomqvist 2:01.5.
Yeah, that's a much faster and a much better lap from Blomqvist. I think Ryan Wood was off somewhere. Yeah, he was off at the exit of turn number 8 last lap, so that explains it. But still, that's a lot of pressure he's now under. And Paul Blomqvist could be looking at another podium here this season, so that will be great for him. Especially once you remember that Paul Blomqvist is, well, he's outside the top 5 in points, but he could be looking at a much better championship result also if he can get himself catapulted past Ryan Wood. So dying in its battle for a podium position, it could be worse, Ryan. It could be far worse. I'm personally looking to see if Paul can take this all the way home.
Ozzy is looking to see how Paul gets by here, so he can actually get himself a podium when he gets to the racetrack for once. Isn't that right, Ozzy?
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm not gonna disappoint you with facts, so I'll let you have that one.
Through Canada corner, you can see how much of the inside they're taking, kicking up the dust with the right side tyres as they try to cut the corner as much as they can into this last corner. You don't want to do that. You can get it onto the curb but not the grass. The grass there will actually flip you around because of the input you've got through the wheel on the throttle you were carrying at the time. On to the final lap of the race. 2:01.1 for Blomqvist, 2:01.7 for Wood. Blomqvist has been given a target to chase thanks to that mistake from the G-Drive driver on the last lap, or 2 laps ago, and when you have a target to chase, you often find yourself driving just a little bit deeper into the corners.
Yeah, that may not necessarily be a good thing, mind you, especially when you are right behind another car. But you get that I get what you mean. You get that extra bit of courage, you get that extra bit of commitment going through the corners, and you just kind of want to go a little bit harder. And this is one of the best positions to be in as a racing driver, when you are chasing somebody down, both of them making mistakes through turn number 5, with Blomqvist left half a lap to go. So he's still got, realistically, Canada corner and the last corner as overtaking opportunities and a potential for a photo finish. Oh, flashing the lights. That's cheap.
Unless on iRacing, it's Belle Isle. I never want to be the chasing car at Belle Isle, because overtaking at some places is much harder than it is here. But I think if Wood can get through the kink, mistake 3, he should be home and dry. But this is really crucial right now. Cannot afford to leave anything on the table through the highest speed corner on the racetrack if we discount turn 2. And Blomqvist shot down the gap through there, getting closer and closer. Wood moves the car over to cover the inside. From a late lunge from Blomqvist, you get right up to his bumper. But up front, Shane van Gisbergen is going to make it another race win. He takes out race 1 at Road America. Second goes to Sabo, third to Ryan Wood. As he comes out of the last corner, he should be comfortable. Blomqvist in his draft, trying to chase him. The line comes up in 4, 3, 2, 1. It's third place for Ryan Wood.
And Paul Blomqvist actually giving him a bit of a push after the finish line, saying well done. And the rest of the guys coming across the line. Mitchell Sparrow in 6th place, Andrew Waite 7th. Couldn't quite take that 6th away from him. And we gotta, we don't have any more battles actually out there on the racetrack either. So that's gonna be guys finishing in a single file order.
Yeah, Bickley there you saw on your screen is 12th. Gibson's 18th. He gets out of the way for Caden Barker, who's 13th, but too far behind Bickley to get there, unless something goes terribly wrong for that 12th place car, which I think something has, because he is quite slow through these last couple of corners. Does Barker have enough in the tank to get by him? Is Bickley maybe suffering a bit of engine damage, which is hampering his straight line speed up the hill? He's not going to get there. Hey, are you impressed by how accurately I counted down the run to the line between Wood and Blomqvist, Ozzy?
I'm impressed you can count.
I'll give you that one. That was good. That was good. All right, hey, let's look at our race results then. At the end of race 1 at Road America, it's unofficially a 9.3 second win for Shane van Gisbergen over Antal Rafael Sabo. Ryan Wood held on for that podium in 3rd. Blomqvist home in 4th in the end. It's 5th for Nicholas Lowndes, 6th place for Mitchell Sparrow. Andrew Waite home in 7th. Royce Rollinson 8th. Taylor Cockett and Matthew Giantini rounded out your top 10.
Yeah, it's going to be Douglas Bickley just ahead of Caden Barker, finishing 11th and 12th respectively. Casey Stark, he's had one of the few races where he finished in the position he started in, 13th. Stephen Barker 14th, with Matthew Griffin 1 lap down 15th. Gene Rollinson and Mark Gibson as well 1 lap down. A little bit of a heartbreak for those guys considering their pace. Jonathan Shapley 2 laps down 18th. Todd Gibson 3 laps down 19th. Nathan Krang and Zane Hills classified as did not finish. So that means they'll be right at the front for our race too. And Ryan, before any unforeseen events, let's get the, where do you put the over under on Shane van Gisbergen getting into the lead of pit number 2?
Lap
How
2.
many laps? Really?
Lap 2. Yeah, it's a long track, man. A long track. Let's go to a quick break here on GSRC as we await the beginning of race number 2. Stay with us, coming back for the green right on the other side of this. Welcome back to beautiful Road America circuit, getting ready for our reverse grid 25-minute second race of the evening here on the Global SimRacing Channel. BMW Race Driver Series brought to you by Griffin Excavations and Express Hydraulics. So, race 1, it was Shane van Gisbergen that won it by about a couple country miles, but now he has to start from the back, along with all the other top runners from that race, and some of the drivers who had some bad luck and finished down the order get a chance to reset and start towards the front. Zane Hills nets himself pole for this one. We know he's pretty fast. Nathan Krang will start second. Gibson third, and then Shapley fourth. That's your front two rows. So, going to be interesting. This is a very passing centered track. You can pass here, as what I was trying to say. And it's a really long track as well, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be too many laps before we see those guys at the back making their way forward.
No, not at all. However, it is a narrow track as well, especially on the main straight, so they're gonna have to be pretty careful on the restart to not get any funny ideas about making 3 wide or 4 wide, because that's gonna potentially end in a disaster with the varying braking points and all that. If I'm looking at favorites, like you put the over-under at 2 laps on Shenmue Gisbergen taking the lead, I'm gonna pick the over on that. And the reason why I'm picking the over on that is because you got Mark Gibson and Gene Rollinson starting at row number 3. Mark Gibson was our second fastest qualifier, mind you. He was 0.8 of a second slower than SVG, true, but he's also starting about 16 positions up from him. So if he can reunite with Zane Hills and Gene Rollinson can get behind them soon as well, then I can easily see those 3 trying to make a little bit of a headway for themselves before the likes of Van Gisbergen, Sabo, Wood, Bloomquist, and others come to join the company. Hearing reports, there was a car off in the background as well, briefly.
What is this, a news bulletin? We're hearing reports that...
Yes, more at 11.
Car off in our back. We actually saw it on the screen. It was a car from our field of drivers. I'll be honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't watching.
Yeah, I didn't really see it either, but it wouldn't be too surprising. You know, some people having lapse of concentration maybe at the early part of the race, early part of the lap.
Caden Barker.
Oh, Caden Barker, right. That's why I didn't see it. I was looking at the back.
Ooh, he just got caught out by Stefan Barker, not going quite as quickly as he thought, had to jam on the brakes. A bit like the Mugello restart in Formula 1, except without the giant calamity that came with it. So, everyone will take to the start. Here you go.
Yeah. So trying to bomb cars a little bit and then getting just caught out by the actual pacing speed. Yeah, that's a great job actually avoiding the car in front and only having a little tap to the wall, because that could have been quite an embarrassing moment had you caused a pile-up before, you know, the race actually starts. But, you know, fair enough. Fair cop, you know, going a little bit too fast, learning from the mistake. Zane Hills leading the field away through Carousel. Now, Ryan, my question is, at this point, what kind of a race will we see? Will we see a typical race of 2 sides, where at the start it's going to be a calamity with everybody fighting for position, and at the second part it's going to be the survivors having a parade? Or do you think there's going to be battles that last all the way through?
Well, generally it's been pretty frantic on the opening couple of laps, and, well, place 1 had a level of energy over the first couple of laps that matched our second races through most of our rounds when the reverse grid was in place. So I'm a little bit apprehensive to see how this one goes now that we've reversed the order, but we will see, and I imagine we'll see some pretty decent battles over the course of the race as well. Looks like we've lost Todd Gibson, who was supposed to be starting from 3rd, so that's going to elevate everyone on the inside behind Zane Hills up a row.
Yeah, Mark Gibson being one of them, so he's going to be on the next row starting.
They're leaving a big gap behind the iRacing.com Porsche pace car, so I wonder if Zane Hills is eyeing off an early jump here on this restart as we come through the final corner here at Elkhart Lake, the Road America circuit. 6.4 kilometers in length. Put on a show for race 1. What's in store for race 2? Let's find out as we go up the hill Zane Hills is slowly accelerating, but he's not gone. Now he goes. Green flag is out and up through the gears. A good jump from Zane Hills. Krang will slot into line behind him. Looks like Shapley's got a gap as well to his inside. As on the brakes, Todd Gibson has got back into the service, so he did start from third. And he can't quite get by Shapley. Gene Rollinson's up there as well, on the outside for turn 3.
And I'm happy to report everybody clean through turns 1, 2, and 3. So that's quite incredible, actually, was watching these guys. And we have potential for 3 wide, actually, between Matthew Griffin, Mark Gibson, and Todd Gibson, but not going to quite go.
Rollinson moved across because he saw Mark Gibson coming in his mirrors. There's Matthew Griffin locked up. I've heard a crunch in the background.
Andrew Wade and Caden Barker, they're both okay.
They got away with it then. As up and around goes Douglas Bickley, turns off the nose of Andrew Waite up at turn 6. And he now goes to the tail of the field.
Yeah, so that's the first real accident. Oh, and once again around, and that's Matthew Griffin. And that's the 10-car round as well, and that's one of the Minion cars. I think that was SVG caught up in that one, in the number 12. Yes, he was there 3 wide to the carousel. Wow. So that was a big incident as well. A little bit of a traffic jam here coming to the back straight run.
Wolfgang Gisbergen's lost it again. Out of the carousel. Slams into the concrete. And collected as well. And there's another incident. Exit of the kink. 2 cars around. Royce Rollinson and Matthew Griffin.
Yeah, Rollinson and Griffin getting caught up in the kink as well. So a lot of calamity between some pretty fast drivers there right on the opening lap. So they made it clean through the first turns, and then all the hell broke loose between all of these drivers. And as a result of that, we are looking at a dilapidated front of the field. But Zane Hills, he's cleanly through. He is leading with a second over Krang, and then Rollinson, Shapley, Gibson, Cockerton, and all of those guys in a tight melee for third place.
Mark Gibson on the inside of Shapley. He got into the back of Gene Rollinson, trying to outbrake Gibson. Somehow, Rollinson's car did not feel that bump. And both Gibsons end up getting by Shapley. Biggest mover on lap 1 was Antal Rafael Sabo, plus 12. From 20th to 8th, Van Gisbergen has had to come to pit road for a spare car. Matthew Griffin and Nicholas Lowndes are both out of this race.
Yeah,
Stephen Barker as well, also getting a spare car.
Yeah, so Gene Rollinson has a chance to claw some points back here in the second race. He's leading that chase pack down in third place with Mark Gibson and Todd Gibson flanking him right behind. And then you got Jonathan Shapley, Taylor Cockerton, and Antal Rafael Sabo. The bad news for Gene is that you got Sabo already right behind that pack where he is in. But the good thing is that he's still pretty clean, is Gene. And that's very important for the championship after the disaster of Gene Rollinson's first race. Finished only 16th. Sabo, he in turn was able to finish second. So that's going to have some real championship implications. And Gene desperately needs at least a podium here. Potentially more, considering SVG is out of this one.
Technically out of it, but I think a race wins out of the equation without a potential safety car intervention. As into the last corner, Rollinson got put off by a half look from Mark Gibson, made a mistake on his own. That allows Mark Gibson to go by on the run out of the last corner and up the hill. Rollinson tucking in immediately to try and get some slipstream and try to fight back into the first corner. He's going to do exactly that as he pulls out. And on the brakes, it will go the way of Mark Gibson, who's just a bit more confident in his car. This is the battle for P3, don't forget. Nathan Krang and Zane Hills are extending their gaps out at the front of the field. So they'll be loving what's going on back here. And also in the battle for P7.
Yeah, and Coqueton, Sabo, they're in a battle for P7. Andrew Wade as well as Jonathan Shapley quite closely involved in that one, and the battle for third place as well means that, as you said, Zane Hills has a chance to run away. Krang made a mistake though, exiting turn number 5, not off, but he lost a bit of time, allowing Gibson to catch up just a little bit. So that's all very interesting. What's the most interesting here, however, I think, Ryan, what's your opinion on the paint scheme of Nathan Krang's car, as we saw it earlier, and chrome paint schemes in general?
I'm glad I got my slip glasses, Andy.
That's a good point.
Out of turn 8. That was 2 in the grass for Cockadin. Sabo just managing to sidestep him and get around him and take away P6. Shapley was 6th at the start of the lap, but by the time I picked him up out of turn 3, he was already 9th. So I suspect he's being freight trained by that trio, who are now starting to pull a bit of a gap on him and do battle amongst themselves.
A little bit wide of the exit for Sabo there. He's certainly trying his hardest through Bill Mitchell bend as well. Trying to run away from these guys through the last couple of corners, and no wonder, because the great equalizer of Road America Straights is once again coming. And you got Coqueton and Andrew Wade, who seem to be busy fighting each other, but they're gonna be in the taillights of Sabo in not too long.
How good is this for Wade? He's on the outside, but he's got slipstream from the next car in front, just dragging him further and further alongside the man he's trying to pass, Taylor Coqueton. He squeezed him on the entry and did it just enough to get the spot, and now we can go up and try and pass Sabo. So Coqueton, after getting up to 6th at the start of the last lap, is now back to 8th just 6 kilometers later, and Krang has already lost P2 to Mark Gibson.
Yeah, I was just about to say, who rang Nathan Krang. He's down in the 3rd place. Mark Gibson getting past him. You got Gene Rollinson, Todd Gibson, as well as Sabo next up in that one. And I wonder, and I don't even wonder, I think Sabo and Wade have a great chance of catching up to this pack, and that's a pack for the 2nd place. Now it's all about, Krang and Rollinson and those guys being able to hold on to the back of Mark Gibson as he is trying to charge away from them and charge himself all the way up to Zane Hills. So we still got a potential for a great battle here, great battle for a win, and at least a great battle for some podium positions with 2 championship protagonists involved in that one. So Ryan, so far so good. Certainly gonna be looking more of everything happening in lap number 1, but also a great race all the way to the end, by the way this is shaping out. So kind of a best of both worlds.
In the P3 battle, Krang is about to come under a lot of pressure from Gene Rollinson, who I must say though, isn't really showing the pace I thought he might have. Mark Gibson seems to be maybe the quickest out there, other than Zane Hills right now, at the front end of the order. Gap between them is 4.2 at that time by, so earmark that. And take note of it and see if it changes over the next few minutes and laps as Rollinson closed into turn 1. He'll push hard through turn 3 and look for the exit onto the straight. Not going to have to do that because Krang's handed him a brilliant exit by running wide himself. And that means that Rollinson should complete this relatively easily as he will slice by. Look behind though, because Todd Gibson's got Sabo squeezing onto the grass. 4 wide, 4 ties in the grass, 3 wide because of it. And uber late on the brakes. Sabo manages to pull it up. Andrew Waite slots in behind him, and Todd Gibson's gone from 5th back to 7th. Make that 8th as Taylor Coqueton uses his front bumper to get by.
So that was low-key brilliant from Antal Rafael Sabo. He got squeezed out of the racetrack on the straight, running up to turn number 5. He got onto the grass, which we know isn't the grippiest stuff out there, but he managed to get himself back on the racetrack. Kudos for guys actually leaving him room there to get back to the racetrack, and he managed to brake late enough to get that position, but still early enough to actually make the corner. You're gonna see it here. So Sabo's gonna look to the inside of Kokaton. You're gonna see Wait on the outside. Kokaton trying to block him off. Blocks him off a little bit too much through there. And he's off the track, and this is a disaster right now, but somehow he manages to find the grip on the brakes and slow it down and just squeeze ahead of Andrew Wait. That was well executed by Antal Rafael Sabo, and that was really millimeters from absolute disaster.
And immediately swung the car back over to the left to dissuade any potential looks that Wait might have had up at turn number 6. As across the line we go to complete lap number 5. Mark Gibson shut down the gap by 4/10 to the race leader. Rollinson now pulling a gap in third as Krang has got Sabo coming up behind him, and Krang will be hoping to get turn 3 right this time and not make it so easy for the chasing car. Behind them is this battle as well, with Paul Blomqvist coming up to the back of this group. Krang did make a mistake off turn 3 once again, and he's going to be able to defend the inside this time as Sabo goes by and Krang actually lifts off and lets him have it, and that means Andrew Wait will slip by as well.
Yeah, so Andrew Wait getting that position away rather easily. I think Frank communicated that on the radio, saying that, you know, you guys can get by, no point fighting this. I know you're much faster. I know you're anxious to get to the back of Gene Rollinson. So we are halfway through race number 2 here, heat number 2, and we got the championship protagonists, Gene Rollinson and Antal Rafael Sabo, in positions 3 and 4. I don't think that's the kind of race Gene Rollinson was hoping for, to be honest.
No, it's not. But the good news for him, he's still ahead of Sabo.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he is still ahead, but looking at their starting positions, I think Gene was hoping that, you know, he'd be a little bit more ahead. Maybe Sabo getting caught up in traffic so he could be pulling more points over him. But that was not the case, and now he just has to fight this one with Antal Rafael Sabo, the two cars in third and fourth. Let's see the lap times once they get it up into the clear air. Zane Hill still in the lead of this one. Mark Gibson being about half a second per lap faster. And it's going to be very interesting to see what these two guys can do in terms of the race lead. I don't think they're going to be right there, but, you know, with battles happening, who knows? Antal Rafael Sabo, 2:00.8 last time around. That's matching the lap time of Mark Gibson, with Zane Hills doing a 2:01.6. Same lap time, ironically, as Gene Rollinson. And Sabo's already in the rear bumper of Rollinson.
Using all of the road out of that corner, aren't they? Using every last little bit of grip they can find, trying to maximize the run onto one of the more crucial straights on this racetrack. And does Rollinson defend against the championship protagonist he's up against? Sabo to the outside. And Rollinson leaves him no room out there, so Sabo's going to have to work with this one. Remember, a 47-point gap, or a deficit for Antal Rafael Sabo coming into this race. Behind Gene Rollinson. In race 1, Sabo clawed back a few points. In race 2, looking to claw back some more. Andrew Wait all the while behind them, wanting to improve his own spot.
Yeah, he's certainly racing with a little less to lose here. Can just throw himself into this battle with one of the minion cars. So in case someone's keeping tabs, you got Andrew Wade with the minion car, you got Paul Blomqvist with the minion car as well in 9th place, and then of course SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, sadly out of heat number 2. He was racing a minion car as well, so they're multiplying. But you got 3 minions in the back of the car, and you got 3 minions in this race. And you got 3 minions in this battle as well. That's Andrew Wade looking for a chance, looking to draft Gene Rollinson as Antal Rafael Sabo looks to be inside run.
Oh, this is tight. This is very tight. Wait moves over, and there's contact with Antal Rafael Sabo. They get away with it. And into turn 1, they haven't changed positions at all, but it was 3 cars all trying to fit into the same piece of road, and I'm very surprised that they all got out of turn 1 cleanly. But now we go again, down towards turn 5. Rollinson again is going to have to defend because Sabo's got the run, and he's going to look to the outside. Can't go too deep because Wait will be there to get by. If he ends up high and wide, he looks for the crossover. That's smart. Rollinson was very good through there that time.
Yeah, he was. So on the main straight, it was Wade trying to muscle his way out from the outside line, couldn't quite pull it off as he was boxed in. But Rollinson here fending off Sabo quite brilliantly. They are losing time in this battle, but they are crucially. I think both Sabo and Rollinson are so concerned about the championship right now that they just want to fight with each other. Wade, being involved in this mix, kind of throwing his own spanner in the works in this battle. And it's a great one. It has been a great one so far, and I hope it continues as a great one as well. With Sabo maybe turning in a little bit too early to the king and trying to catch up to Sheen. And Sheen working himself some gap, but once again he's been caught up and right back into square one as they head towards the main straight.
Blomqvist has had an issue as well, apparently, because he was running in 9th. He's now in pit lane.
Yeah, he crashed out in the carousel, so he overcorrected. No need for a replay, I think. He overcorrected in the carousel. Oh, I think his wheel disconnected, actually. Yeah, that was a hardware issue. 90 degrees to the left, that's a hardware issue, so Paul Blomqvist's hardware sadly failing him. Who said you don't have technical issues in sim racing?
No one. No one said that.
Exactly.
Sabo had a think that time as I came through the first corner, but ultimately it's just not close enough. And Gene Rollinson is doing a fantastic job to be fast in all the critical areas on this racetrack. And that is helping him to maintain this spot ahead of Sabo and Wait, who are both quicker than him in terms of outright pace. And has the patience waned for Sabo? Maybe, but Rollinson gave him the room. They all slide on the exit, but Andrew Wait gets the best run of them all. And up the hill and over the crest, Wait going to move himself up into P4.
Yeah, he gets one done over Antar Rafael Sabo. Now he's got the other one in the form of Gene Rollinson right in front of him. He's got the podium right in front of him. Now, can he finish this battle, and what will Sabo do? Because I don't think this is the last we'll see of Antar Rafael Sabo in terms of podium hopes. I think he's coming back, but right now he's saying, okay, fair enough, Andrew Wait. He's aggressive. He's trying to make up these positions. And now when he's behind him, I think he's going to be... I know Sabo has been a very clever driver in this series, so I think he's going to be looking at Wait a little bit. He's going to give him some chances to get this position and think, maybe, I can pick up the prize as these two guys battle. As they fight over the prize, maybe they'll drop it and maybe I can run away with it. Who knows?
6.5 minutes just about left in this race, and that is a critical error from Gene Rollinson. He's dropped it off the outside of the racetrack, and that allows Wait to fly on by. And I don't think there's enough track left for Rollinson to pick up a slipstream and try and get back by him into turn 1. Certainly coming back, but Wait will defend the inside. Rollinson loses the 3rd place he fought so hard to retain. But again, Sabo's still behind him and still can't get by him, so it's Wait but that's managed to get by both of them.
Yeah, and there was a bit of contact between Rollinson and Sabo heading towards turn number 3, with Sabo looking to the inside and looking to the outside, Gene Rollinson leaving him neither. And once again, they come too close for comfort. Sabo, I think, is pushing Gene Rollinson a little bit. He is their bump drafting here at Road America, so taking some tips from very American form of motorsport. But Sabo going wide into 5, and that's going to allow Gene Rollinson to hold on to the position for now. But they must be careful, these boys, because they're otherwise going to lose the draft to Andrew Wade, as we are watching Kaden Barker down in 12th place, and there's a car down the nose, and that's somebody going very wide. No, that's actually passing Krang was Casey Starrock there.
There you go.
but I think Stark is gonna have one back at him, heading towards turn number 5. So they are side by side with Frank, Mitchell Sparrow behind them, and Caden Barker, trying to hold on to the back of that train as well. So great battles in the midfield as well. But I just wonder, how is Mitchell Sparrow's car still running? It's got no nose. It's got no nose.
Sheer luck, I think.
I think he's wearing nose-canceling headphones in that one. Sorry.
Ooh, that's tight. Yeah, I saw that one coming. That was not really a gap.
No, not really. Casey Stark being a little bit ambitious there. Let's just say optimistic with that move into 8th. But meanwhile, moves for the 4th place. Ryan, Gene Rollinson, and Rafael Sabo. I feel like we've seen this one before.
Yeah, just a few times. Rollinson defending Sabo, who was looking so impatient and sick of that car in front. Steven Barker, meanwhile, has popped the motor, and the car is going, understandably, a little bit slower down the main straight then, as opposed to these other BMWs that have all their engine horsepower still available to them, as Sabo goes very deep, and he has to force Rollinson out wide. He couldn't turn in as Sabo really muscled his way through, and he completes it. Can he hold it? As Rollinson's going to fight this one with a crossover. Through turn 7, almost alongside each other, and here comes Taylor Cockerton to join the party as well. So laps car coming up too, that could play a part.
That could indeed, and that's actually Andrew Wade has gotten past Mark Gibson as well. So that's quite interesting. Gene Rollinson, Sabo, Cockerton, those 3 guys involved in a heavy battle, and that's what I was saying a couple of laps ago. Gene Rollinson and Antar Rafael Sabo, they're gonna have to be really careful of not doing exactly this, dropping themselves too far from the battle ahead. But Sabo looking to the outside into Canada corner. That's gonna be tight, and that's gonna be sabotaged.
That is really bad for his championship hopes. 47 points, a big margin coming into the final 2 rounds. Whatever gains he had in race 1 might have been washed away with that, as he falls to 7th, while Gene Rollinson runs in 4th. Sorry, 3rd. Nope, yes, 4th. Up at the front, Zane Hills has got a lap and a half left to go on this race. He's got an 8.5 second lead. He might win this by about the same margin that Van Gisbergen won race 1. And this is what happens when you put a fast driver at the front for the reverse grid.
Yeah, that's what indeed tends to happen. Cockerton as well, we here has been running into an issue. Let's find out what happened to him. Oh yeah, he went for a late move into turn number 1, and that's gonna be worth a replay. Yep, Cockerton actually getting blocked out by Gene Rollinson. Look at that late move from Gene, leaving him no room. Cockerton was already to the inside, and yeah, nowhere to go but the grass, 10 to the sand, and 10 into the wall. And that reminds me of my first time playing golf. Only that he didn't end up into the lake.
I'm wondering how a wall's been involved in your first time playing golf.
Oh, the animal, not the structure. And Gene Rollinson is around. Gene Rollinson is actually around in turn number 8. So that's gonna throw a wrench into his works. He was catching up to the second place as well.
Sabo's back behind.
So we're gonna see what happens here. He's gonna come through 7 just fine, trying to catch up to second place, obviously pushing hard, nobody behind him, and just braking too late for 8. That's an unforced error, I'm afraid, for Gene Rollinson, and that's gonna mean that he goes from a cozy 4th place and a chance for more into the claws of Antar Rafael Sabo, who in turn runs wide at Canada corner. So that's going to be very interesting for the championship as we're watching the battle for second place.
Okay. That's interesting. The battle between Waite and Gibson, a lot of snaking happening on the run into turn 1 there. Waite, desperate not to get re-overtaken by Mark Gibson, who sticks close through turn 3. Is he close enough to get the slipstream down this straight? Maybe pull a move into turn 5. He flashes the headlights, hoping to distract Andrew Waite. Then make him miss his braking point as he gets closer, and Waite moves it over. But he is much stronger on the brakes. Is he too strong? Maybe. He slips, rear end stepped out just a little bit through turn 5, and he loses ground.
That he does, and he's gonna have to try again. Does Mark Gibson through 7 into 8? Will they break in time for this one? Gibson looking to the outside, trying to get a good exit. Instead, he gets a very bad one. He gets very sideways indeed. Andrew Waite being able to slip away with that one, that little bit of a slip moment from Mark Gibson, and as a result of that, may be able to fetch himself a 2nd place out of this one. But Ryan Jones, this is the man who's been controlling this race right from the get-go.
Yeah, Zane Hills, a fantastic drive from him, has not looked back all race long, and this will be a good breakthrough after a season of very fast race cars, but maybe not getting the results he quite wanted. He's going to come out of the final corner, and up to the straight he goes. Race 2 at Road America. Zane Hills takes the checkered flag with a stellar drive.
It was a stellar drive. It was a clean drive. Going to be very close for the 2nd place, but it is going to be Andrew Waite just holding off Mark Gibson, and behind him as well, Gene Rollinson managed to hold off Sabo, crucially for the championship. I'm looking behind them. Do we have any battles on track? I don't think we do, so those are going to be the last guys who are really fighting for a position. But wow, Ryan, I think this had a bit of everything.
It did. It was certainly another great addition to the lineup of races we've had this season in the BMW Race Driver Series. And we'll go to a break then here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Stay with us on the other side of this, your full results and hopefully some post-race interviews. Welcome back to Road America, wrapping up our coverage as we look at the results of Race 2, our reverse grid race. And this is how they finished. Zane Hills gets it done by 8.6 seconds over Andrew Waite, who finished the second after starting 15th. Mark Gibson claims a podium after starting this one up in 5th. Todd Gibson comes home in 4th, Taylor Cochran in 5th, Gene Rawlinson P6 for him, right ahead of championship rival Sabo, who finishes 7th after starting from 20th. Giantini 8th, Douglas Bickley home in 9th, Royce Rollinson in 10th, who's the last car on the lead lap.
Indeed, he was 2 laps down for Casey Stork as well as Stephen Barker, 3 laps down in turn for Nathan Crank, Caden Barker, Mitchell Sparrow, and then 5 laps down, classified as out, Paul Blomqvist, Jonathan Shapley, Shane Van Gisbergen as well out of heat number 2, Ryan Wood, Matthew Griffin, and Nicholas Lowndes. So a lot of casualties in this heat number 2, a lot of great racing, and I think, Ryan, a great example of the capabilities of these guys. Despite the amount of crashes, you had a lot of great racing. That duel between the championship protagonists, it's gonna be something worth some sort of a video review after this season is over. Gene Rollinson and Antal Rafael Sabo really coming into blows.
Yep, it's going to be great, and make sure you tune in at the same time next week. That is 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. New Zealand time, or 4 a.m. Eastern time, if that's where you're watching from, next Monday night or Monday morning, depending on your time zone. But from us for tonight, we are going to start to wrap things up. Big thanks, as always, to Griffin Excavations and Express Hydraulics for their support of the series, and everyone who helps put together BMW Race Driver Series. Couldn't do it without the companies that provide the software and the hardware either for our broadcasts, and Gina Lond, who provides all of the music you hear throughout the show. You can check out how to get a hold of them by taking a look at the screen now. Make sure, if you want to support GSRC, you go and chuck us a like on social media on Global SimRacing Channel on Facebook, or Twitter at GSR Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram, and hit subscribe to us on YouTube so that you don't miss a moment. We've got other races listed on your screen now as well, so check them out and mark them down if you're interested. But big thanks to the team with me today, Joe and Ozzy, and from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.